Hey Uncle Neil, this is Jack here. So I thought I might as well do a video here and then you can just watch it. Makes it easier for you and it's somewhat easier for me. So anyways, you have Visa, which you told me, and personally I love Visa. It's a great company. It's a great stock too. The only thing is it's just got a bit of a high valuation. You can kind of see the PE, but besides, regardless of why, that's not what I'm talking about it. It reported earnings. The market liked it a lot, as you can see. It reported earnings the other day, and they raised their dividend by 20%. You can see here kind of what they did. So they raised their dividend by 20%, and they also announced this big share buyback program. I'm not sure if you really know what share buybacks are, but so when a company buys back their shares, they buy back like one share, and then that share is now retired. You can't trade it anymore. It can't be traded on the open market. It's just almost like it's non-existent. So that acts as a buy in the market. So it's like, it drives the price up a little bit. And then it's just less volatility, I guess. It's viewed as a really good thing. Personally, I like dividends a lot more, but they increased that by 20%, but they also announced a huge share buyback thing. So what they did say though is that they are not including a recession or a slowdown in their forecast, which obviously every company on the planet of Earth knows a recession is coming. And that's why Visa likely increased their dividend so much and did this massive share buyback is because, well, and they know it too. They're not stupid, obviously, but they know that, people are having to use the credit cards a lot more because of inflation. You have to can't use your debit card or pay cash because you don't have the money, so you have no choice but to use credit cards. And we've seen it in the data leading up to this earnings, and then clearly just Visa shows it itself. It's up quite a bit here. But it's interesting to note that they're not including a recession in their forecast for 2023, which is like doesn't make any sense. Talk to any other company and a recession is pretty much guaranteed. It's really how bad it's going to be. But yeah, so you can see here, you can kind of see what they did and stuff. Just a little thing. You can pause it, I guess, if you want. But yeah, so that was Visa. They reported earnings. It was great, stellar. Um, Great company. I'm glad you own it. I would be, recommend it myself for sure. But yeah, and then we can kind of see here your portfolio for this. So we got this. So big moves that happened today and that I bought quite a good chunk of was Google and then Microsoft. Both came down a lot. I'll get into that later. There's nothing like, again, both of these they came down like 10%. Google was, and then I think, well, you can see here, yeah, 10%. And Microsoft was 8 for the days. It's the like to simplify it, just to simplify it for you. It's the economy. It's not something fundamentally wrong with the businesses. Like I'll get into it here with Google. It's just their big thing is ad spending. Like people, obviously they spend a whole lot of money to have their ads on exactly this. There's no ads here, but nonetheless, is that's their main source of revenue is the advertisements, and that's how they make a lot of their money. And unfortunately, that's the first thing that companies cut back in a recession is advertisement spending, and especially now because they're not wanting to really fire people in a recession because of the labor shortage, and they know that effectively in what, like a year, well, 2 years, I'll say, they're going to have to hire those people back that they fired. So why the hell would you kind of fire them in the first place to begin with? Because both companies, that like people aren't going to come out of nowhere. There's still going to be a labor shortage 2, 3, 4 years from now. So people aren't going to just appear out of nowhere, unfortunately. But yeah, like again, it's a great chance to buy them. They're down at their all times low, and I was waiting for this moment. Been waiting and waiting and waiting for this, and I was low key kind of hoping that they would come down a lot so I could buy them because I like to, like what I say is kind of buy the fear and then sell the greed, just to, yeah. But they're like great companies. It's just, the economy doing its thing. We're slowing down a lot, obviously, and stuff. It's just the economy doing its thing. It's a great chance to buy them and just dollar cost average into them and stuff. But yeah, like Google the most, and then Microsoft second, and then I told you today that CP is my new number one. I texted you all that, but I love CP. Like the management, like at the like the management is everything. What they tell you is everything. It's everything at the end of the day. It really is. Everybody everybody in the stock market world somewhat, well, and the professionals, they all base what they're going to project and everything by what the management says. And I was saying, like they were ecstatic, like this is I've and they were able to talk about the acquisition too, because like you have to be, like the last quarter 3 months ago, they couldn't say much about the acquisition because it's still like ongoing, the reviews and all this shit. But this time, because it's the last time that they will speak to us before the deal is probably through, because it's expected in Q1 of 2021. So maybe they will, maybe it won't be through by the time they talk to us next. But they were it was almost like it was guaranteed to go through. That's the deal with CP, is if this deal doesn't go through, it won't be good. It will not be good. That's the risk you're taking. But like the way they talked, it's like it's a guarantee to go in. And honestly, if the deal falls through, the way management spoke, I would be filing a goddamn complaint slash lawsuit against them for misleading us, because they made it seem like, even if it's not obviously a sure thing, the committee has to decide. They made it seem like it was a sure thing, and on top of that, they talked about how huge of an opportunity it is. It's like going to be massive for them, and it's going to change a lot, and they're well prepared to make the transition. Like this is a huge railroad company that they're buying, but it's more of like a merger because they're so big. Like they're actually going to be called, I think it's going to be CP Kansas City Rail Lines now. So it's more of a merger, but at the end of the day, obviously CP will buy them because CP's shares are still around and shit. But anyways, yeah, and like it's going to be huge for CP, and it hasn't, stock price hasn't changed since he announced the deal and stuff. Like I said, it's going to be massive for CP, I think personally, and it's definitely my number one. Well, because of the short-term performance really that it has. Like it's cyclical, but like at the end of the day, people, it's trains and shit. So kind of wrap it up here. One last thing. Facebook. It just reported today, and as you can see down here, it's down 20%. It just reported like about 3 o'clock today, and once they did it, it went down 20%. And this is, I was showing it to you earlier, but it's now erased gains going back to, like, see, this will be at about $100 tomorrow morning, all the way back to 2015. It's erasing gains till all in 1 year. And ever since it was about here, because they warned that they would stop growing. I don't mean to take credit for myself or whatever here, but ever since, but it was somewhere around here, but it was like a shock. They were stopped growing, really, like their user growth stopped growing, and they started talking more and more about this metaverse shit. Like the whole reason this is down 20% is because they're spending a boatload of money into this metaverse stuff, and it's going to have no actual return on investment for about 10 years, and they're putting 10 billion into it this year, even though it's not going to return anything for fuck knows how long. But I like I haven't I wouldn't still wouldn't come near this stock. I wouldn't come near it. I've had a sell rating on it since here, because, well, for whatever reason, like my own reason, like I was talking about. But it's crazy to see, like this used to be $1 trillion. Like around here, it almost hit a trillion, and now it's at 348 billion. And now it's probably going to be at 200 some. It's going to be down 75% year to date. And this is Facebook. Like Meta Platforms is Facebook. And they have, well, Facebook slash Instagram, and they used to be like this huge company. To me, it's just unbelievable. Like I'm still in shock. Well, I'm because I've been right too for the longest time on this thing. I've been right, but even now, like I said, even below $100, like Jesus Christ, I might have to actually look at it and maybe consider buying it. But not even now after this. no, I'm not even coming near it, just because it doesn't matter how cheap it is. And like the thing is, like with Facebook, is they have half the world, like literally half the world's population, use some form of their device, whether it's Facebook, Instagram. They use it. Half the world uses it at least once a month. They have such a massive user base, like literally half the fucking world. That's why it's so attractive at the end of the day. But since they're spending all this endless money into the metaverse with no return on investment for 10 years, that's why it's come down so much. But anyways, yeah, I thought I might as well just throw that in there in case you want to watch. That doesn't have to do with anything. I wouldn't invest in it at all. It doesn't matter who it is, really, especially now. But nonetheless, yeah. Um, and I'll add this little guy here. I added him because he has a 9% dividend. So I thought, just why not take a 9% return for the next however long you want to do this on this, and just get 9%. And it's like a mortgage company that does, like, it's like professional, like it's with businesses and stuff, not household. It's a business, like they do mortgages for like businesses, for offices and shit. And it's a solid company. There's nothing that can really arguably go wrong with it at all. It's just an easy, nice 9% that you get every year. So why not? You only get what I think it's like, well, 4 or 5%, like we talked about on the GIC, or a bond, or if you want to go into, which, well, you can't, because you need a whole lot of money, and you need a lot of, I guess, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, famousness to invest into to actually have a bond of a company. And you can get like, I think it's 6, 7, or 8% on the bond of a company if you want. Depending, it depends what the company is and how risky it is. But the riskier it is, the higher yield you get. But anyways, I'll wrap it up there. And yeah.